Hey guys, how's it going? I am back for another video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Oliver. I travel full-time and I pay for my travel through trading. Mostly options, and you can see trading videos on my channel if you're interested in that. But today I thought I'd mix it up and do something on the digital nomad side of the fence. So this is going to be like top tips, things I'm glad I did or I wish I'd done before starting out on this journey. It's been about a year and a half now. And yeah, no particular order. There might not be 10. I don't know. We'll see how we go. But the first one that I think is pretty important is airlines in Asia have gotten really strict about weight limits for flights, both the check luggage and the carry-on. So you really want to check a bunch of airlines in the countries you're thinking of going to and see what kind of limits they have. So just as an example, Cebu Pacific is a very popular budget airline here in the Philippines. So like if you're going to Palawan, Boracay, wherever, pretty good chance you're going to fly Cebu, and the limit they have for carry-on is 7 kilograms, and they will weigh you at the check-in. If you're over 7 kilograms, it's going in the cargo hold. And a lot of times, like, you can't check a laptop. So if you can't come up with a 7 kilogram plan that involves your laptop, you're in big trouble. Like, have an extra tote bag or something you can fall back on. But 7 kilograms or less for the check bag. Their limit is 30 kilograms. You can pay to over your luggage up to 30, but at 30, that's the limit for one piece of checked luggage. 7's a hard limit. Everything you bring on the plane combined has to be 7 or less. But that's just one example. So know what those limits are, and when you're planning out your stuff that you're going to bring with you, make sure that you're within whatever limits you want. My next recommendation to help out with that is to get one of these. So this is a luggage scale. It's very small, digital, and you just loop it through the handle on your luggage and lift it off the ground, and it tells you how much your luggage weighs. And I found this is really close to the number they get at the check-in counter, like close enough they don't give me a hard time. So get one of these. It's a lot easier to order it now off Amazon than to try to find one when you're in Manila, because that's where I bought this one. So that's another tip. So while you're trying to hit those weight limits, I would also say, I mean, everybody says this, right? But it's really true. You will bring too much stuff. Try really hard to cut down your list of stuff to what you actually need, because you're going to find you have a bunch of things with you that maybe they're too personal or too expensive, too painful to let go of, but now you're having to drag it all over the place and you wish you'd left it at home. When I packed, I was scaling down from a 1 bedroom in Hawaii, and I was just kind of cutting my way down until I could cram it in a suitcase. I wouldn't do that. Start with an empty suitcase and a luggage scale, and intentionally add things you definitely want with you until you start hitting that weight limit, and then make some tough choices. I would go, find a travel vlogger or travel blogger that resonates with you, their style, what they're doing, and see if they have like a packing video, and see what they bring, and start with that. That's probably a good way to go. If it's not on their list, think really hard if you need to bring that item or not. And so 2 videos I liked when I started. There's this guy, Dan, he's got this Vagabond Awake channel. He did a packing video. When this video came out, he'd already been slow traveling the world for 14 years straight. So a lot of wisdom in this video, and you'll see his packing list is actually pretty small. If you're a travel couple, I also really liked this Kiwi couple. They traveled a couple years in Southeast Asia right before COVID hit, and they did this video on how they travel as a couple. And so, for example, they share one larger check suitcase, but then they've got the 2 carry-ons. So anyway, also pretty good. Now, speaking of luggage, I would definitely get some of these tracking tags. You can get, these are tile, but you can also use like Apple AirTags. Samsung has their own version, but whatever one you like. It's just a lot of peace of mind. I had friends show up in Mexico City and their luggage did not show up, right? And this won't prevent that from happening, but when I arrive in an airport and my luggage shows up at the airport on my phone, it's just a huge sigh of relief. I'm not sitting for like an hour by the carousel wondering if my luggage is going to come or not. Like, if I get off the plane and I can see my luggage was in St. Louis 30 minutes ago and I'm not in St. Louis, and I can head over to the counter and be like, hey, like, you guys lost my luggage. And by the way, this is where it is, right? Now, a couple things that I would also set up before you leave home. If you're in the US, I would get a Google Voice account set up, right? So Google Voice, if you haven't seen this, it's like a phone service, but it works through like your web browser, or there's an app for your phones, that sort of thing. And actually, this is a tip I got from Dan. And you need to set this up while you're in the US, and you need to connect it to a real phone number, US phone number, while you're in the US. Once it's set up, you're fine, right? Now, there are a lot of VoIP services out there like Skype numbers and stuff like that, but they don't all support short codes. These are the little codes your bank sends you, or your credit card company, like when they want to verify you're you. And it won't be long after you start traveling. You'll go to log into one of your bank accounts on the web, and it'll be like, you're logging in from a weird location. Like, we want to send you an SMS to verify that you are who you say you are. You want to have something like Google Voice already set up and that number registered with all of your banks. So when they do that, you can get that short code, right? Otherwise, you might be locked out of your account until you get back to the US, and that's just not fun. Now, some providers like T-Mobile have pretty good roaming support and Wi-Fi calling support, so you might have good luck with that. But Google Voice doesn't cost anything, so I would say, set it up anyway. I would also set up transfer services, so like Remitly and Wise are two very popular ones. And this is just a really easy, low-cost service for moving money from the US over, overseas. I use this a lot in the Philippines to send money from my US bank account directly into my Gcash account. So I'm here a lot, so I have a Philippines phone number, and that allows me to have a Gcash account, which is kind of like a phone wallet. Actually, let me just show you. This is my Gcash account on my phone. I've got 14,000 pesos in there, and I can easily send money in using Remitly. It shows up not too long after that with my ATM card. And then with this, you can pay, like, I've got this connected to like the Uber. It's called Grab, but the Uber here in the Philippines, I can pay with Gcash. I can pay for my groceries, pay at shops. I can pay for my bills, like electric bill, whatever. I can use Gcash. When I extended my visa, I paid immigration using Gcash. So, and sometimes it's just nice to use something that's not a credit card for lots of reasons. And yeah, but Remitly in general, definitely set it up before you leave, just because, again, it doesn't really cost anything. It's nice to have it set up, and then you're good to go. Kind of on the same note, I would set up, there are these debit cards you can get. So actually Wise has one as well, and Revolut has theirs too. And these work kind of like a bank debit card. You preload them with money, and then you can take it out on an ATM, or you can spend it like a debit card. But it kind of gives you a layer of protection between your real credit cards and bank accounts, and wherever it is you're spending money if you're not using cash. So for example, actually I already had, if I'm using something sketchy like an ATM somewhere I'm not completely confident of, I already had my Wise number skimmed somewhere when I was in Mexico City, and a whole bunch of fraudulent charges showed up. I contacted Wise and let them know. All of the money actually got refunded, but the damage that they could have done was limited to whatever I had loaded on the card, right? So that's really nice. And now my Wise card is out of action. I still have the Revolut. That's why I have two. I'll get a new Wise card next time I'm back in the US. But also, like, I didn't have to lock my Schwab ATM card, which would have been an absolute nightmare, frankly. So it's just, it's just nice to have these as kind of like for sketchier situations and in general. So I tend to use these a lot more than my other cards. I do have two of these. I actually have two bank accounts and two ATM cards. I have two bank credit cards, and I keep one set of each in the hotel and one set with me. So God forbid I ever get mugged or something. When I get back to the hotel, I've got a new set ready to go. Oh, also I have all the banking apps on my phone, so I tend to lock all of my cards, and so I'll unlock them right before I use them. At least since the Wise card got stolen, that's what I do. So the next tip I call the orange laundry bag tip. So when you're in Asia, there's usually not like a self-service laundry, like there's no laundry machines, even in the budget hotels or whatever. You drop your laundry off at a service, they do your laundry, and then you come back the next day and you pick it up. And when you go to pick it up, you go there and there's just this entry area with like 50 white laundry bags all over the place. And they'll have some kind of a system to find yours, but it's still digging through bags and checking the tag to see if it's yours. And so what I do is I have an orange laundry bag. When I walk into the laundromat, I go, yeah, that one's mine, the orange one right there. And 5 seconds later, I'm walking out with my laundry. Another benefit of this is after I did this like 2 times, I was walking by my laundromat on the way home, and I was like, oh, I should pick up my laundry, but I forgot to bring my tag. I just walked in, and they're like, oh yeah, it's orange laundry bag guy. And they just gave me my bag. They're like, yeah, no problem. Right? We know who you are. So yeah, just a little hack. It's not just for laundry bags. I bought new luggage, so my new luggage is orange. When I'm waiting at the carousel for the luggage to come off, I don't have to like squint at every single black or dark navy suitcase that comes off the line. I'm just looking for the orange one. I'll probably throw some stickers on it to make it even easier. But yeah, there's usually only 2 or 3 orange suitcases. My next tip, although you can set this up on the road, but you can get an Anytime Fitness membership, and it's actually a global gym. So they're obviously not everywhere, but for example, if I'm booking a place in Manila, in Tokyo, in Mexico City, these are all places I go a lot. There are lots of Anytime Fitnesses, and I can, look for an Airbnb or a hotel that's close to one of those, in which case my membership just works, and I've got a gym all set up. Speaking of Airbnbs, so I really like to cook, and also if you eat out all the time, it actually gets expensive, right? So we're trying to save money, at least to be somewhat reasonable. But also I really like cooking. Back in the US, I had this fully stocked kitchen, and when you get an Airbnb kitchen, I mean, I've complained about Airbnbs on my other videos. It's not like you have a bunch of spices or anything. And if you go out and you buy a whole bunch of spices, like, are you going to shove those in your luggage, from place to place? So I use these spice packs. So I'll go usually right next to the area where they have all of the, the full spice jars. They'll have a bunch of these little spice packs hanging on a rack, right? And so if I want to make chili, I still prefer to make it from scratch. I'll get a couple cans of tomato, a couple cans of beans, throw in some corn, chopped bell pepper, ground beef, whatever you want, and then you just throw in one of these spice packs, and that's your pot of chili. Another tip for Airbnbs, and especially for hotels, is to get a Wi-Fi travel router. So this is a tiny little box, and this is USB-C cable just for scale. So this is a Wi-Fi router just like you have at home. You connect all your devices to this. And then when I get to a new hotel or something, all of my devices automatically connect to it fine. They can all see each other fine. As far as the hotel goes, I have to, I open a web page that's built into this device where I tell it this is the hotel Wi-Fi. And then on my laptop, I'll get the hotel landing page, just like you normally get, right? And then so it asks you something like, enter your room number and your last name to activate the internet. So you do. And once you've done that, all of your devices are already connecting to this router. And so they're already connecting to the internet. And another thing is the hotels often have a device limit, like 1 device or 3 devices. The hotel only sees 1 device, right? So if they have some ridiculous limit on the number of devices you can connect, doesn't matter, right? You're fine. Another nice thing about these is you can connect VPN through many of these routers. You'll have to check for compatibility, but like I have a US VPN and it's loaded onto this, and I can turn it on or off. So when the VPN is on, all of my devices think that they're in the US, right? So if you have something like a Roku stick for watching TV or something, like, you're looking at US Netflix. My phone and my computer sync over Wi-Fi. I like that it's doing it over a Wi-Fi device that I own and not trying to do it over some like Airbnb host's Wi-Fi router or something like that. So it just makes me a little bit more comfortable. And on the hotel side, so just a side note, when I'm booking in Asia, Agoda I find tends to have pretty good deals. So it's worth at least looking at them, along with whatever else you use. When I book hotels in Asia, a lot of times the price for 1 person is the same as the price for 2 people. And if that's the case, I travel solo. I book for 2. And the hotel will usually give me the 2 key cards to the room. And so one of the cards goes in the slot in the doorway, so it turns the electricity on for the whole room. And then the other card I keep with me, right? So now, when I go out, if I want to go out to Starbucks or whatever, like I can leave the air conditioning on. I could be charging my laptop if I want, and I go to Starbucks, whatever. When I come back, the electricity's still on. So it's just something that I like. I try not to abuse it too much. Like I can appreciate that. Like I don't run the aircon 24/7 or anything like that. The other thing I like to do with hotel bookings is, I'm often booking for a longer stay, but I won't book the long stay. What I'll do is it's usually the same price. So I'll book 2 nights and then maybe a week and another week, something like that, because the bookings usually let you cancel within a day or two of the start date of your reservation. So if I show up at a hotel that I haven't tried before and it's crappy, then I can just cancel the extra weeks without any charge. I don't have to file a case with Agoda or Booking.com or whatever. I don't have to have any kind of arguments. I just cancel them, money's refunded, and that's great. So yep, that's a bunch of my tips for travel after a year and a half doing this. If you want to see more of my journey, especially my trading videos, subscribe, like, would be great. And I will catch you guys in the next one. I think next time I'll probably be back on trading. I want to talk about something called a ratio spread. So it's like a continuation of the strangle video that was the previous one. But if you're completely new to trading and options, I've got a beginner-friendly option trading video on something called a put credit spread. I would start there. And anyway, I will catch you guys in the next one.